What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, the government, we know, is inept. They don't do a damn thing for the people of this country. It seems like they'll get on TV and they'll tell you that they're working toward, Republican policies, conservative policies, right? We're working for the people to do what we can to get the job done to save America, right? But open borders are destroying this country. They're destroying cities all across this country because, as we know now, every single city, every county in this nation is a border county because of Joe Biden's open border policies. Nobody likes it except for a small group of people that just so happen to have loud voices in Congress, right? Like, you got the Democrats. They call you a racist if you don't want open borders. They call you all kinds of names because you want to secure the southern border. We know that drugs come across that border like nobody's business. We know that there's tons of drugs coming across that southern border. We know that the cartels are smuggling people. They're smuggling children, for God's sakes. They're putting these children and women into sex trafficking rings, and we want that to stop. We want to stop the fentanyl from killing over 100,000 people that overdose on fentanyl a year. I know that, Trump can't actually stop the fentanyl overdose, right? But he can slow it down significantly by securing the southern border. As a matter of fact, Joe Biden could do that if he would just stop getting these people to come in illegally, right? Like, we could do something and it wouldn't take very much. A few policy changes and we could have a secured southern border. It wouldn't be outright secured because you can never secure that much land without a fence, without some kind of border wall, and we need to do that, to be honest with you, right? Like, we need more ports of entry. We need to expand legal migration. That's what my opinion is. But, Democrats and the corporate press and the mainstream narrative machine, they love to lump those two things in together, right? You got Republicans and most U.S. American citizens don't like illegal immigration, but the corporate press and the Democrats will get up there and just say, oh, well, they hate migrants. No, nobody hates migrants. We need migrants. We like migrants. We want people to come here to have a better life. We don't want them to do an in-run around the people that are actually trying to come into this country legally, do the right thing, become a citizen. We don't want those people to cut the line, essentially, and just do an in-run around and allow the Biden administration to just give them luxury hotel rooms, debit cards with thousands of dollars on them, taking away from the citizens of this country. That's where it's wrong. It's not racist. It's not about the race of these people because we've got people coming from all over the world, right? Like, they want to talk about, oh, Trump's a racist because he doesn't want people to come across the border illegally. Come on, you can do a better argument than that. But you know what? I found this very interesting speech from a MAGA Republican that lays out a pretty good plan for the southern border.
Broken borders. That's an oxymoron, something we can't tolerate. Borders, of their nature, our definition as a nation and our protection as a country. Broken borders, they don't exist. We can't tolerate them. So let's say from the start that we all in this body, and I know I can speak very firmly for the Democrats, support strong border control. And it must be part, and the first part, of any comprehensive immigration reform. It is our obligation as elected officials to keep the American people safe, and our borders are our first line of defense, one of our early lines of defense to do that. Democrats support also enforcing laws, current laws, against those who came here illegally and those who hire illegal immigrants.
Okay, so she's not a MAGA Republican. That's Nancy Pelosi, right? Like, she would fit right in with Donald Trump's policy positions right now. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. And that was a Democrat policy. That was standard Democrat policy from just a few years ago. What was that? That was almost 20 years ago. Okay, so I'm getting old, folks. I'm sorry. 2005 doesn't seem like it was that long ago. That was almost 20 years. Okay, maybe that shows my age, but I really don't care.
Whoopsie. So
that wasn't that long ago. What in the hell has changed, right? Like, we went over all the stories, story after story of local, communities, local counties trying to get criminal aliens to vote in local elections. We know there's laws on the books that stops them from voting in federal elections, but we do know that the census counts these people and they go toward the electorate because it gives more power to Congress, right? Like, they have to redistrict all these areas because now they have X amount of criminal aliens here, or just people, because they don't differentiate in the census between citizen and non-citizen. So these certain places where these people go, they get more electoral power in Congress and in the federal government as far as the electorate for president and all this other stuff. So we know that, whether it's intentional or not, but it's really hard to see that it's not intentional, because we know all these criminal aliens coming in will destroy cities. We know that. We've seen it. So it begs the question, why would they do this? It has to be for political power. There's no other explanation. Why else would they give them luxury hotels? Why else would they give them debit cards with thousands of dollars in assistance on a monthly basis, right? Like, they don't care about the citizenry of this country, right? Like, you got a homeless guy over here struggling to get by, struggling to live, and they'll give a criminal alien more assistance than they will that homeless person. That's a travesty. My opinion is we need to fix the problems in this country before we start trying to fix the problems of the world. But the Democrats, all they want to do is virtue signal and expand their voter base. Check this out. As border debate shifts right, Senator Alex Padilla emerges as persistent counterforce for immigrants. Alex Padilla is taking practically every opportunity to put his stamp on the Democratic Party's approach to immigration. The California senator is pressing his case in face-to-face moments with President Joe Biden, in regular calls with top White House staff, and sometimes in outspoken criticism. Padilla is the son of Mexican immigrants and the first Latino to represent his state in the Senate. He's emerged as a persistent force at a time when Democrats are increasingly focused on border security and the country's posture toward immigrants is uncertain. Padilla is optimistic about his party's ability to win support both from and for immigrant communities. Now, we know that to be outright BS. The Democrats are not focused on border security, and they could care less about these migrants. They're only interested in expanding their voter base, right? Like, look what they did in California. California is going to be forever Democratic, right? Because of criminal aliens, because they give all these amenities and everything to criminal aliens and allow them to become citizens, giving amnesty to all these people. Expanded their voter base, and now we can't have anything Republican come from California except out in rural areas where some of these criminal aliens don't populate those areas, right? Like, we've got genuine people out there, but the state is heavily Democratic, and you can blame that on criminal aliens. Illegal immigration is seen as a growing political crisis for Democrats after authorities both at the border and in cities nationwide have struggled to handle the recent surges. The party may also be losing favor with Hispanic voters amid disenchantment with Biden. But Padilla, in a series of interviews with the Associated Press, expressed a deep reserve of optimism about his party's ability to win support both from and for immigrant communities. Don't be afraid, don't be reluctant to talk about immigration. Lean into it, Padilla said, because number one, it's the morally right thing to do. Number two, it is key to the strength, the security, and future of our country, right? Allowing millions of criminal aliens to pour across the border is the key to the strength and security of our nation. Not vetting these people is the problem, is the main problem. We know the problem is because we're allowing criminals to come across the border. And they come into this country and they just do whatever the hell they want to do, murdering American citizens. That's where the outrage comes from. That's why we want to stop the illegal crossings.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border.
It's funny, Biden outright admitted it, that thousands of people are getting killed by criminal aliens, but he won't do anything to stop it. You know, it's like, why? You could do something. A very easy policy change could stop this. And then he goes and apologizes to the murderer for calling him an illegal.
Do you regret using the word illegal to describe immigrants last night, sir?
Well, I don't regret it. Technically not supposed to be here.
But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal.
The senator has tried to anchor his fellow Democrats to that stance, even as the politics of immigration grow increasingly toxic. Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, has said immigrants who entered the U.S. illegally are poisoning the blood of the country and accused Biden of allowing a bloodbath at the southern border. Biden, meanwhile, has shifted to the right at times in both the policies and language he is willing to use as illegal border crossings become a vulnerability for his re-election bid. Once again, the corporate press is lying to everybody, right? Like trying to portray Donald Trump as Hitler when we know that, okay, look, I'm going to ask y'all to let me know what you think about this down in the comments section. Do you think that Donald Trump is calling the criminal aliens that come across the border poisoning the blood of our country? Or does it sound like he's saying that Democrats are poisoning the blood of our country by allowing all these criminal aliens to come in? Let me know what you think.
We got a lot of work to do. You know, when they let, I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country, when they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in.
And, you know, I'm really, really surprised they threw the bloodbath thing in there.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world. I mean, honestly, I joke about it. He can't walk across the street. In that way, he's like Biden.
He was obviously talking about something totally different. Like, how can they construe that? Why would they throw that in there? Why would they say that? Why would they outright lie? Right? Like, it blows my mind. The corporate press is so willing to just ignore logic, ignore their own credibility, right? Like, their credibility with me is gone. But, you know, they're trying to make themselves sound credible. They're trying to not lie, it seems like. It's like they constantly say, oh, we're the most trusted name in news, like CNN, right? Like, the most trusted name in news when you lie through your freaking teeth constantly, right? Like, and then you don't retract some of these lies. And when you do, you put it on the back burner and act like it didn't happen. Right? Like, it's insane to me that they will take a narrative and just run with it, right? Because it promotes, you know, whatever their narrative is. Whatever their narrative is they're trying to push, it'll promote that, right? Like, don't care about lie, don't care about facts, don't care about anything except they're lining their own freaking pockets. It blows my mind and it animates me to no extent. And I just love it when they do that, because I can get on YouTube and I can sit here and yell and scream, gnash my teeth about it, right? Like, but it just blows my mind that people still trust the corporate press, the mainstream narrative machine. It's like, why? Why, when they have lied so much, when they have lied to the American people about all kinds of different things, right? Like I've said it before, I think the corporate press should be completely accountable for the BLM riots of 2020, right? Like all the damages, because they perpetrated a false narrative about George Floyd, about that whole situation, vilified Derek Chauvin, and just pushed violence without actually calling for violence, right? Like, you know, with the guy he's got a building on fire behind him saying, the protests are mostly peaceful. Like, come on, dude. It's a violent mob burning buildings down. Like, what are we doing here, right? Like, why not just say that? Why not tell the truth? Right? Because it doesn't get the ratings. And now they've absolutely destroyed their credibility with me, with most Americans. Most Americans don't trust the corporate press. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Do y'all trust the corporate press? Let me know down in the comments section. That's all I got for this one, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about what's going on the border. Let me know what y'all think about what the Democrats' motive is behind allowing all these criminal aliens to come across the border. I'm curious to see what you guys think about all this, but that's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it, y'all. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.